Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, CBN steps up sensitization on new Naira note as deadline approaches. Diphtheria outbreak kills 25 in Kano State. Water shortages worries villagers in Ingawa local government area of Katsina State. Away from Nigeria, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinta Ardern resigns. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust Television. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the details. The scarcity of the redesigned 1,500 and 200 Naira denomination has continued to be a source of concern to many Nigerians as the January 31st deadline set by the Central Bank of Nigeria draws closer. As a result, business owners are now refusing to collect the old notes as a way of ensuring that they are not left with them after January 31st. Chamung Dabeng reports.
In order to create awareness as the deadline draws closer, the Central Bank of Nigeria has embarked on a sensitization campaign to educate and encourage Nigerians to deposit their old notes in banks and adopt the new ones. The campaign involved reaching out to traditional rulers as well as religious leaders.
But I want to appeal for the extension of the term in order to give room for more awareness, most especially those at the rural area. If that one can be acceptable, I think we will appreciate.
Particularly those in the rural areas, they need to act very fast and very quickly and make sure that they deposit all their old notes so that we don't want them to lose their level of investment. Even though by the new currency, everything is now, more of it will get into the bank.
The Apex Bank also visited some commercial banks to ensure that ATMs were no longer dispensing the old notes. Unfortunately, many banks are still dispensing a mixture of the old and the new notes, an indication that the new notes were low in supply.
They say on the 31st of this month is going to expire, so I don't know why they are still giving us this. This is what I always get now, as you can see.
I don't come here today almost 4 times. This is what I'm getting. Even I complain here. The same bank? The same bank. See, this is the same ATM. So I complain that we are giving old notes. My customers are rejecting it. I'm a POS operator.
A bank manager questioned during the unannounced visit stated that they were still dispensing the old notes due to insufficient supply of the new ones, as they were only given 4 million naira worth of the newly redesigned notes. However, a director with the CBN, Abdullahi Abubakar Kure, stated that there is sufficient supply of the new notes on their end and warned that there may be consequences for erring banks.
The new notes are out, but either the banks are not picking it from Central Bank or the monitoring mechanism will reveal what will happen. Whether they are diversion of the new Naira note to other uses, we don't know. But basically, what we have seen is that some ATMs are dispensing new notes, whereas others are dispensing old notes. So those that are dispensing old notes, we will check our record and see what stock have they gotten from Central Bank and how they have utilized it. Where there are diversions, obviously we might need to penalize them.
Since the release of the newly redesigned 1,500 and 200 Naira notes back in December 15, 2022, there have been cases of traders rejecting the new notes. But as the deadline for the old notes draws nearer, other businesses are now rejecting the old ones and opting for e-payments, while many Nigerians who say they are yet to see the new notes are asking for an extension of the deadline. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now to a health emergency. About 25 persons have been killed by diphtheria infection outbreak in Kano as of last Friday. Reports say that the child killer disease, which was first noticed in Kano late last year, is being treated as an outbreak presently at Murtala Muhammad Specialist Hospital and Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital in Kano. The disease, which is contagious, was first noticed from Ungogo local government area of Kano State. Now, according to records of Kano State Ministry of Health, 58 suspected cases of the disease was documented. 6 were on admission and 25 patients died of diphtheria infection as at January 13, 2023. Medical experts said that diphtheria infection is a serious infection of the nose and throat that is easily preventable by vaccine. According to the experts, the signs and symptoms of the diphtheria may include a sore throat, hoarseness, swollen glands, enlarged lymph nodes in the neck, difficulty breathing or rapid breathing, nasal discharge, fever, and tiredness. An epidemiologist with Kano State Ministry of Health, Dr. Abdullahi Kauramata, speaks on what the ministry is doing on the latest outbreak.
Diphtheria is a bacterial infection caused by Corynebacterium diphtheriae, and it is transmitted via respiratory droplets, either through coughing or sneezing, or contact with respiratory secretions between infected and the uninfected persons. And equally, usually the patients present with fever, general body weakness, symptoms of catarrh like sneezing, coughing, and then later sore throat or throat pain. Some will even go on to have neck swelling, difficulty in breathing, and in the more complex cases, there might be complications that could lead to death. So this is where we are, and it's a vaccine preventable disease, and the state has already strategized. We are doing routine immunization coverage survey to ascertain the level of immunization in those affected LGAs, and already strategies are in place to do what we call routine immunization intensification campaigns to make sure all those children who were hitherto not vaccinated, maybe because the parents are resistant. Now we want to make sure they are sensitized and they are now immunized. And the tracking, line listing, and tracing of contact of those infected patients started. And with this enhanced surveillance, we are able to track a number of contact of those infected patients. And as of today, we have more than 70 suspected cases of this diphtheria in Kano, and looking at the number that kept increasing, we set a diphtheria treatment center at Murtala Mohammed Specialist Hospital. And of course, as of today, treatment is ongoing.
Residents of Santara Nakelu in Ingawa local government area of Katsina State are experiencing shortage of potable drinking water. The community solely depends on pond as the only source of water for drinking and other domestic purposes. Abdullahi Amadi meets residents, including women and children, struggling to fetch water from the only pond available.
Santar Nakelu is a community with a population of over 7,000 people, but facing water shortage over the last 3 decades. Residents say they are tired of several unfulfilled promises by successive administrations of Ingawa Local Government Council of providing potable water to the community. The residents said they have had their high hopes thwarted and are worried over numerous reports of waterborne diseases. As a resident of Central Nakelu, I can tell you without any contradiction, our number 1, 2, 3 problems are perennial water shortage. Similarly, many residents complained of shoddy execution of boreholes contracts, which often end up without providing water. Our children are forced to abandon school to search for water. We have some people who have commercial water points. We appeal to the state government to come to our aid. They, however, acknowledged the fencing of the pond by the local government council some years ago and called for its dredging to reserve more water. Observers blamed the failure of local government system to function effectively, leading to infrastructure deficits at the grassroots. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now to political matters. The presidential campaign train of the People's Democratic Party stormed the ancient city of Ibadan to sell the candidature of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and his running mate Ifeanyi Okowa, who are running for the nation's highest political office. Speaking at the event, the PDP presidential candidate reaffirmed his determination to give more autonomy to states in order to pave way for national development. The report.
From across the 33 local council districts of Oyo State, enthusiastic supporters of the People's Democratic Party converged on the ancient Mapo Hall to welcome the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, and his entourage. The venue was filled to capacity as members listened to speaker after speaker who described Atiku Abubakar and running mate Ifeanyi Okowa as the most preferred for the onerous task of leading Nigeria back on the path of greatness.
There is no doubt that we have continued to suffer as a nation in the last 8 years. The suffering is too much. We cannot bear it anymore. And the only way we can express it is to ensure that we use our PVCs on February 25, 2023, which is next month.
Ibadan would have been the finest city in Africa. But the only presidential candidate today who has assured us that the evolution of power will help Ibadan, will help Oyo State, will help the entire Southwest to regain his own pride of place is which party? Which party? Which candidate?
The national chairman of the PDP, Iyorchia Ayu, called for unity amongst members, which he noted was necessary if the party is serious about victory in the general election.
Has worked tirelessly to make sure that the party returns to the people. No single person, no single group of people can control this party as long as we do what the people want. And you are demonstrating today that the party is truly controlled by the ordinary people. Those who are not sure are not sure that this is the party that will survive. We all know the position of Oyo State in Nigerian politics. Oyo has been and remain a melting pot of the southwestern politics of Nigeria.
Presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, promised to restructure the nation as well as put an end to recurring strikes by university lecturers. Atiku, who described Oyo State as strategic to national development, promised to industrialize the region if elected president.
We will fund our universities and pay our teachers on time so that we don't have any disruptions to our academic activities. Now, Southwest is known to be also a business center. That's why in our economic program, we are committed to making sure that the industrialization of the Southwest is achieved and has the support of the federal government.
Highlight of the event was the presentation of a certificate of endorsement by leadership of the Students' Union in the Southwest, who described Atiku Abubakar as a man with the acumen to reposition the nation.
In a similar vein, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has pledged to address the security challenges facing the country, as well as completing the Barrow Island port. Now, Obi made the pledge at the party's campaign rally in Minna, the Niger State capital. The report.
The Labour Party presidential candidate also said he would ensure that Nigeria utilizes its abundant natural resources to grow its economy, and called on eligible voters to vote for competency rather than looking at the tribes, religion or regional affiliations of candidates. While in Minna, the presidential candidate held a town hall meeting with women and youths where he assured that if elected, women would be given a fair share in the governance of Nigeria. He said the turnaround of Nigeria would begin from Niger State, which not only plays host to the largest landmass in the country, but is also endowed with several mineral resources that are yet to be harnessed.
Of 70-something thousand square kilometers of land. It's bigger enough that it is almost the size of Netherlands, Belgium, and then they are combined. In this state, we will show we are not going to go from Abuja. I want you to take everything we are saying. Take it. Election this year will not be by tribe.
The presidential candidate and his running mate Dati Ahmed later moved to the Mina Polo Ground, where they addressed supporters from all the 25 local government areas of Niger State.
As the vice presidential candidate, I've told you, you're going to have, in the past 24 years, our country has produced poverty. They produced youth unemployment. They produced out of school. They produced 2 strikes. That is what we have come to change. We have relatives, we have parents, our respect to them. For that reason why now, for the second reason, that this is your government. We are inviting all of you here. Follow us to the right.
Earlier, the Labour Party governorship candidate in the state, Joshua Bawa, blamed the leadership in the state for poor economic development and rising poverty in the state and assured of a new era of progress with the Labour Party. A minute of silence was also observed in honor of the late Catholic priest, Reverend Father Isaac Achi, and numerous others killed by bandits and insurgents in the state.
In the meantime, presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, wants stakeholders in Nigeria's construction industry to give credit to President Buhari for keeping them busy through his infrastructure revolution, just as he promised to build on the achievements if elected. Now, the APC presidential candidate, who spoke at an interactive session with members of the Federation of Construction Industry in Nigeria, also identified security as #1 priority if given the mandate. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
Responding to issues raised by members of the Federation on security, monetary and fiscal policy to support the industry, as well as tax waiverism, the APC presidential candidate promised to deploy all means to secure the country, leveraging on technology and human capital investment.
We as a government must take it as #1 item, and that is the way I perceive it. We strengthen security for Federal Republic of Nigeria. Be sure we will employ all means necessary to do that, including technology. I'm assuring you, we will make it a priority.
Tinubu said if elected, his administration will eliminate corruption through consumer credit, while separating the fiscal policy from the monetary policy for efficiency. Minister of Works and Housing, Raji Pashola, other ministers and the chairman and president of the Federation of Construction Industry in Nigeria speak.
Their attitude was to privatize everything, including the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. So if the contractors on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway are here, were you working there? Hello? So that's a political choice, and you will have to confront it again in the next few weeks.
As it relates to the construction industry, let me just say that there has been a solid foundation, and I'm sure you are certainly those that would attest to that.
We're saying that as we start out in mining again, there must be domestic beneficiation. You must process whatever you mine.
Issuance of Sukuk bonds and road infrastructure development and refurbishing investment tax credit scheme. These initiatives were carried out to improve the situation of the construction industry in Nigeria.
The interactive session was convened to engage with the stakeholders in the construction industry as part of strategic interface with professional bodies ahead of next month's election. Shapir Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Disabled persons in Jos, the Plateau State capital, have expressed displeasure over the non-inclusion of their members in political campaigns in the state. Members of the group who spoke with Ado Musa in Jos said that despite being neglected, they are ready to vote during this year's general elections.
According to some of the persons with disabilities, this year's election is not the only electioneering period that politicians in the state have kept them out of the campaigns. They lamented that at every election period, politicians took their campaigns to different communities and organizations in order to canvass for votes, but ignored them. Majority of the blind men in Jos have their PVCs. Both men and women among us have collected our PVCs and we are ready to vote during the election. Although we, like every other person, have our permanent voter cards, we are however surprised that none of the politicians has visited us to canvass for our votes. I have collected my PVC. I have never missed election in this country, and I will not miss this one. I want to participate in the election because I am hoping to have someone who will look into my plight. I want to vote because I'm a citizen of this country. Virtually all the politicians seem not to know our relevance in the country's politics. Candidates of all political parties are going round to all nooks and crannies of the country to seek for votes, but none has come to us. But whoever identifies with us will have the advantage of additional votes from our members. They, however, said they won't be reluctant to participate in the upcoming elections, despite being relegated to the background, adding that they will support whoever they believe will address their challenges. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
A cashier with the Kano State Sharia Court Division, Hussaina Imam, and 14 others, including judges and registrars, have been arraigned before a magistrate court in the state for allegedly diverting the sum of 500 million naira meant for orphans. According to the first information report, the defendants, Bashir Ali Kura, Saadatu Umar, Tijani Abdullahi, Mariam Jibrin Garba, Shamsu Sani and Hussaina Imam, sometimes in 2020 and 2021, committed the offense. Hussaina Imam was said to have used her official position as a cashier in the Kano State Sharia Court of Appeal to allegedly forge the letterheads of Sharia Court of Appeal, fraudulently authorizing the bank to transfer the said amount to various bank accounts without knowledge and or consent of the authorized body or person. However, all the defendants pleaded not guilty to the charges, and the counsel representing them applied for the court to admit the defendants on bail. The trial magistrate, Mustafa Saad Dati, adjourned the case to February 1, 2023 for hearing and ordered the remand of all the defendants in a correctional center. The Katsina State Emirate Council has removed the district head of Bakori, that's Idris Sule Idris, from office. A statement signed by the district head of Rimi Aminu Nuhu Abdul Qadir and made available to journalists in Katsina says that the removal takes effect from Thursday, 19 January 2023. The Katsina Emirate Council and the state government had constituted a committee to investigate the district head over some allegations leveled against him. Though the Emirate Council was not specific on the allegations, it later confirmed that the district head was found wanting and as such was expelled from office. The statement further said that the Emirate Council remains resolute in ensuring justice, equity, fairness and the prevalence of peace throughout the Emirate and the state as a whole. Police in Bauchi State have arrested suspected criminals for being in possession of dangerous firearms, car theft, and other criminal activities in the state. The command's public relations officer, SP Ahmed Wakil, in a statement on Wednesday says that the command acted on credible information to impound the suspect. The statement said that policemen attached to Toro Divisional Police Headquarters during a patrol near Nabarado village arrested one Umar Abubakar, aged 21 years, for acquiring a locally made pistol revolver. The suspect was said to have acquired the weapon from his friend Muhammad, who hails from Nasarawa State. A statement also said that the police raided criminals' hideouts in Al-Galeri local government area and recovered a couple of firearms. The statement said that the Commissioner of Police Bauchi State Command, CP Aminu Al-Hassan, while commending the command operatives for the success recorded, assured that all criminal elements will be smoked out of their hiding places and will answer to their crimes in due course. 3 members of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra were killed on Wednesday when an armed affiliate, Eastern Security Network, attempted to attack Agua Police Station in Oguta, local government area of Imo State. The police public relations officer, PPRO CSP Mike Abatam, who confirmed the incident in a statement, said that the hoodlums had successfully attacked the Agua Central Vigilante Group office, where it was set ablaze, but as they were about to attack the police station, they were repelled. The PPRO said that when the information got to the police, the command's tactical group immediately mobilized to the area where the police engaged the hoodlums in a fierce gunjo, and in the process, 3 of the hoodlums were neutralized while others escaped to nearby bushes with various degrees of gunshot wounds, abandoning 3 of their operational vehicles. The PPRO said that the police combed the area and recovered a number of items: 2 pump-action guns, 2 double-barrel guns, 24 rounds of live ammunition, 12 expended cartridges, 1 improvised explosive device, among other items. The federal government has announced automatic employment for a family member of each of the 7 slain personnel of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aragbeshola, announced this on Thursday during a condolence visit to the families of the late personnel who were ambushed by bandits in Birnin-Gwari local government area of Kaduna State earlier in January, during which 7 of them lost their lives. A statement by the spokesman of the NSCDC, Olushola Odumosu, said that the minister's message was delivered to the families of the late personnel by the Commandant General of the NSCDC, Ahmed Abubakar Audi, during the condolence visit to the families. The Corps helmsman hinted that he had initiated the process of payment of death benefits and other entitlements to the affected officers through the Office of the Minister of Interior to ameliorate the pains of those they left behind. The CG also announced the elevation of SCA Thomas Hassan, the only survivor of the attack, to the rank of Inspector of Corps from Senior Corps Assistant, and immediately decorated him with his new rank, even as he charged him to teach others the maneuvering tactics used to survive such dangerous attack in order to minimize casualties in case of similar confrontation in the future. The Nigeria Institute of Medical Research has organized a sensitization campaign for stakeholders and secondary school students on the need for diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of cervical cancer that is affecting women and young girls. The sensitization campaign took place at the Medical Research Institute, Yaba, Lagos. The report.
Cancer of the uterine cervix, commonly known as cervical cancer, is the 4th most common cancer among women and girls globally. According to research, 1 life is lost every 2 minutes due to the disease. To prevent such, the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, NIMR, deemed it necessary to sensitize the public on the dangers of the disease, which, if diagnosed early, can be prevented or treated successfully. The director of the research, Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, Lagos, Professor Oliver Ezichi, speaks.
Cervical cancer can be prevented by HPV vaccination of young girls, screening of women, and treatment of those ones identified to have precancers and invasive cancers. But unfortunately, in the country, our cervical cancer control is so very well organized, and only less than 10% or even less than 5% have ever screened for cervical cancer.
Research shows that in Nigeria, cervical cancer is the second most common cancer among females, with over 36 million Nigerians at risk of developing it. Speaking to some of these stakeholders, the chairperson of the International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, Lagos State Branch, Chinwe Efobi, called for cooperation among stakeholders.
I want to make sure that those rights are enforced. That's why we will help in spreading this. We will make people to be aware of the effects of cervical cancer. People should be, the women should allow their daughters from the age of 9 to 15 years to be screened.
Well, I learned today how to make an awareness, like the means that they're going to use to spread the awareness is the mother-daughter approach, where us daughters, we the students, can go home, talk to our mothers, and tell them about how deadly the cervical virus is.
It affects mostly girls, and it's the second cancer of the women, which is the second most popular cancer. And then I've learned that we can use vaccine, which is the HPV vaccine, to eradicate the cancer in the early stage.
The Nigerian Institute of Medical Research said cervical cancer is one of the most preventable and treatable forms if detected early and managed effectively.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at managing diversity in intertribal marriages. Details of this and more shortly.
Daily Trust presents 20th Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Interrogating the 2023 Presidential Agenda. Panelists:
Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, former Chairman, First Bank of Nigeria.
Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, Professor of Political Science and member of the Board of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. Dr. Yetunde Anibaba, Lecturer, Analysis of Business Problems, Lagos Business School. Dr. Eugene Enahoro, Human Capacity Development Specialist and CEO, Heltoni Services Limited.
Chairman of the event, John Cardinal Onaikon, Archbishop Emeritus of Abuja.
Date: Thursday, 25th January 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue: NAF Conference Center and Suites, Gwarimpa Expressway, near Next Shopping Mall, Kado, Abuja. For sponsorship and branding participation, contact 081 00 49 1948, 081 65 32 0660, or 080 33 92 8902. The event will be broadcast live on Trust TV.
Welcome back from that break. Now let's take a look at some of the top stories again. CBN steps up sensitization and new Naira note as deadline approaches. Diphtheria outbreak kills 25 in Kano State. Moving on, hoodlums dressed in military uniforms have abducted 4 tipper drivers from a farm in Ilorin, the state capital, where they went to excavate sand for supply to their customers last Saturday. Police Public Relations Officer in the state, Ajayi Okasami, confirmed the abduction on Wednesday. Okasami, who said that the victims were yet to be rescued as of Wednesday, said that 2 suspects had been arrested and were helping the police in their investigation. The 4 abductees are members of the Oyun Garage branch of the Association of Quarry and Sand Dealers Ilorin. Reports say that the kidnappers had already contacted their families and placed 5 million naira ransom on each of them. Meanwhile, some women who claimed to be wives of the drivers on Wednesday in Oyun area, Kwara State Polytechnic Road, Ilorin, took to the street to solicit for alms from commuters and passers-by to raise the ransom. Justice Inyang Eko of the Federal High Court Abuja has struck out a suit instituted against President Muhammadu Buhari challenging the alleged lopsidedness in appointments into the Niger Delta Development Commission. The suit instituted by an Abuja-based businesswoman and NDDC stakeholder, Rita Ogbebo, was struck out by the court on the grounds that the plaintiff has no legal right to have instituted the case. Delivering judgment, Justice Eko held that Section 2 of the NDDC Act 2000 was specific that any legal action on any infraction in matters relating to NDDC can only be instituted by corporate persons and not individuals like the plaintiff. The judge held that the law was clear that the power to file any case to challenge infractions in the NDDC cannot be delegated by proxy to anyone. The plaintiff had, among other things, prayed for an order compelling Buhari to appoint an Ishekiri indigene from the oil-producing areas of Delta State as the managing director of the NDDC. In a similar vein, Justice Inyang Eko of the Federal High Court Abuja has fixed April 5 for judgment in a 27-count fraud charges brought against a former head of service of the Federation, Stephen Oronsaye, by the federal government. The judge fixed the date after the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Oronsaye, and others adopted their final addresses for and against the case. While adopting his final brief of argument through his counsel, Ade Okenya Ine Essien, the former head of service of the Federation, asked the court to dismiss the entire charges against him on the ground that they lacked evidence and merit. However, counsel to the EFCC, Oluwaleke Atolagbe, prayed the court to convict the defendants based on the evidence adduced by 21 witnesses who testified in the matter. Justice Eko, after taking arguments, fixed April 5 to deliver his judgment. House of Representatives on Thursday passed for second reading a bill for an act to amend the Legislative Powers and Legislative Act 2017 and for related acts. Now, the House also passed for second reading a bill for an act to establish rights for victims of crime, to provide for the rights, welfare and compensation of victims of crimes, as well as provide for the strengthening of the criminal justice system and for related matters. The report.
The bill, sponsored by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, and the Chief Whip of the House, Mohammed Mongono, seeks to amend critical aspects of the powers and nomenclature of the Nigerian legislature to reflect international best practices.
Members of the House of Representatives should be addressed and designated as representatives, while distinguished senators of the Senate will be designated as senators.
The House also passed for second reading a bill for an act to establish rights for victims of crime, to provide for the rights, welfare and compensation of victims of crimes, as well as provide for the strengthening of the criminal justice system and for related matters.
The bill for an act to establish rights of victims of crime, to provide for the rights, welfare and compensation of victims of crime, and provide for the strengthening of the criminal justice system and for related matters, be read the second time.
Both bills scale second reading and refer to relevant House committees for further legislative actions. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is pushing for increased export of gum arabic by the establishment of a research institute for gum arabic to source revenue. When established, the Gum Arabic Research Institute will enhance the cultivation of the acacia tree, which produces gum arabic used in the pharmaceutical, food, beverage, print, and textile industry. Gum arabic is found in West and East Africa, with Sudan, Chad, and Nigeria leading in global export to Europe, North America, and Asia.
Several research institutes. There is so many other institutes. There are ones that deal with fruits, that deals with seeds. I believe, Mr. Speaker, he has clearly established the need for us to optimize the use of gum arabic.
But because of the economics of scale, because of the challenges we have in the Federation, I think it would be good that with his cognate knowledge of Ministry of Agriculture and the institutions there, he can advise us and guide us on the institutions that will deal with this matter.
A minute of silence was observed in honor of victim of police stray bullet, Godsend Uhofuso, killed just 1 month after he graduated from Ambrose Ali University, Ekoma, Edo State.
Now, the announcement of increase in the price of compulsory premium vehicle third-party insurance for vehicle owners in Nigeria, which took effect since January 1, 2023, has become an issue of concern among vehicle owners. In this report, owners of private vehicles who are groaning under the new rate of 15,000 naira as against the 5,000 naira they paid prior to January 1, 2023, said the increase is outrageous and unnecessary. The report.
Third-party insurance, an insurance policy purchased by vehicle owners, protects those insured in the event that someone else files a claim against them due to an accident or damage to their vehicle when driving. But vehicle owners are not pleased with the new rate as they question its justification and viability in the country.
5,000 we were paying before is not easy for us, you understand? And the 15,000 increment, I don't think it's affordable for us to pay.
I'm not happy about that because I subscribe to that third party and I'm a comprehensive insurance holder as well. So the sudden increment in the fee of its insurance is nothing to write about honestly, because with the situation of things in the country, things are hard. Everybody's trying to mix ends meet. Now they are bringing the issue of increment in insurance fee.
Even if they want to increase, not by this period, not by this time.
With the country's economy biting hard, they, however, lament the overall cost of vehicle maintenance and price of renewal of other vehicle documents.
We can't meet up, even to go with the vehicle parts, everything are going up.
Even the spare, the cost of maintaining vehicles in the town now is high. Cost of spare parts, cost of the fuel scarcity, all sorts of things.
Driving license is there, is being increased. You understand me? Other things that government is putting, other things, the advertisement and whatsoever, all is on the drivers. You understand me? It is not proper at all.
Despite the negative reactions against the price increase, appeals are being made to the government to consider reducing the new rate of third-party vehicle insurance to ease the burden on vehicle owners. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Nigeria is a country that is rich in culture. It has more than 250 ethnic groups, and each of these tribal leadings has its values, beliefs, tradition, and culture. These groups belong to a particular region with regional boundaries that for many years have reflected in the way members of each tribe choose their spouses. In this report, Bello Musa reports on how two people from different regions discovered themselves and the love they share for each other.
Though culture and language may differ, Christian and our woman from Edo State discovers his love, Salamatu Saidi from the Ebira tribe in Kogi State, and immediately understood they speak the same language of love and understanding and became husband and wife. They said their intertribal marriage has strengthened the bond between their families in Edo and Kogi states. Intertribal or interethnic marriage is a form of marriage where a man and a woman from different tribe or ethnic group come together in a marriage institution. Christian said he is happy with his choice, adding that tribe or culture should not be a defining factor of your true love and happiness.
I came from with her, not her own tribe. But I've gotten married to her, so I've gotten married to her own tribe. So I'm actually better now because of her. So I am okay with it. Whatever she is, I am. As far as she's Nigeria, I am Nigeria.
But, it's before that families choose for their children whom to marry. But parents now have allowed their children to go out and then seek love, because truly it helps.
He said when there is a strong bond between two people, one will always try to find solution and not complain.
There will be challenges. Language barrier. Language barrier is going to be a process that which you have to be open-minded with each other.
The truth of the matter is, sometimes we have this issue because we are from different. We did not grow up together. I did not grow up in his state. Neither did he grow up in mine. But we'll come to just understand ourselves.
Abdul Malik Salihu is a product of intertribal marriage.
My mother, when she came, she didn't understand Igala, but when she came into the marriage today, she speaks Igala very well. I think she's from Kogi State because of the marriage, the intermarriage she had. So even we in the house, we speak both Idoma and Igala. Unfortunately for us, we grew up in Adamawa State. Like some of us, we speak Fulfulde from that because of the environment where we now speak the language in Adamawa State.
Intertribal marriage is gradually becoming increasingly common despite challenges faced by those involved in the areas of language, cultural values, and culinary variations. Observers believe the more we learn about each other, the more similar we see ourselves. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
There's a growing concern among residents of Osun State over the presence of overgrown weeds on roadsides in most parts of the state. Residents express worry as it poses hazardous threats to people plying the roads amidst growing security concerns and hazy weather conditions. Hamid Oegbade reports.
Several safety measures are put in place to prevent road users, pedestrians, cyclists and motorists from being killed or injured while plying roads. Traffic signs and road surface markings convey useful information and instructions to drivers to guide their decisions and actions. But when weeds and trees take over the roadway median and road shoulder, they cover the traffic signs and road surface markings, posing danger to road users. In Osun State, residents lamented that weeds and trees have grown on roadsides, preventing drivers from having clear view of the road signs.
Armed robbers, bandits, and all these kidnappers could hide very, close to the main road, throw anything on the road to cause confusion for the driver, and in the process they attack them. They abduct people, lead them into the bush.
If there is drainage beside the road, the driver won't be able to see that there is drainage beside the road. So it's very difficult and it can cause waste of life. So I want to appeal to the state government, the local government and the individual to look into it and find a lasting solution to it.
It's a very, very dangerous thing, especially for drivers. Like, it obstructs their views a lot and it's very, very prone to accidents.
The sector commander of the Federal Road Safety Commission in Osun State, Paul Okpe, said the commission is carrying out advocacy to government agencies to find permanent solution to the problem.
And one of our advocacy that we embarked on earlier when we came in here was about the clearance of vegetation, which we have continued to happen. In meeting with the traditional rulers, the Oni of Ife, and many of them, even the governor, the then governor, and all stakeholders, especially those at the Ministry of Environment, we told them the need to ensure that we have our roads free of overgrown vegetation.
Traffic accidents are among the most dangerous global threats to people's health and life. Therefore, governments at all levels, relevant agencies and communities should collaborate to ensure safety of vehicle operators and passengers and pedestrians by making the roads safe. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
One person has died following a collapse of a one-story building in Ikeja area of Lagos State. The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency confirmed the casualty figure, saying that the incident happened at number 12 Aromire Street in Ikeja on Wednesday. It said that the building formerly housed a supermarket but partially collapsed due to construction work by some unskilled workers on site. The incident is the latest in a series of buildings that have collapsed in Lagos and other parts of Nigeria. Bad workmanship, low-quality materials, and corruption to bypass official oversight are often blamed for Nigerian building disasters. Gombe State Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya has sworn in 11 caretaker chairmen to steer the affairs of the 11 local government areas of the state. The governor also sworn in 2 newly appointed permanent secretaries in the state civil service. Performing the function, Governor Yahaya urged the newly appointed caretaker chairmen and the permanent secretaries to discharge their responsibilities in adherence to the rule of law.
The appointment is in line with Section 9, Subsection 3 of Gombe State Local Government Council Amendment Law 2013 and Section 79, Subsection 3 of the Gombe State Independent Electoral Commission and Electoral Amendment Law 2013. This is coming after the successful expiration of the term of office of the elected local government chairman. The appointment today as caretaker committee chairman is based on the exceptional track record and performance as elected chairman in the past 2 years.
Time now for us to take a look at business updates presented by Chiamaka Nwafo.
The federal government has recorded a revenue shortfall of 14.28 trillion naira under the present administration, according to data from the Budget Office of the Federation. The data was obtained from the budget implementation reports from 2016 to 2022. In the period under review, the federal government projected 43.05 trillion naira as revenue to fund its budget, but made only 28.77 trillion naira, representing 66.83% of expected revenue. The revenue shortfalls echo concerns by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, over the government's inability to generate adequate revenue. Nigeria relies on oil for the majority of its revenue, and in recent times, this revenue source has been impacted by low production and subsidy payment. The Nigerian Customs Service, Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos Command says it generated 20.9 billion naira between January and December of 2022. The revenue generation was an increase from the 19 billion naira the command earned in 2021. A statement by Juliana Tomo, the spokesperson of the command, said the MMIA Customs had a revenue improvement of over 1.8 billion naira when compared to the previous year. The statement quoted Muhammad Gidado, the Customs Area Controller, as saying that the revenue improvement was made possible due to an improved integrity of passengers in the declaration of goods and high level of compliance towards voluntary payment of courier parcels, as well as passengers accompanied and unaccompanied baggage duty. The statement hinted that this increased performance demonstrates the effectiveness of the strategies that were adopted last year, adding that the command expects an even better performance going forward. And finally, in stocks, the Nigerian equity market on Thursday closed on a positive note as the All-Share Index appreciated by 0.02% to close at 52,626.42 points. Investors gained 6 billion naira as the market capitalization grew by 0.02% to close at 28.664 trillion naira. The market broke close positive as 25 equities appreciated in their share prices against 16 that declined. An aggregate of 129 million units of shares was traded in 3,183 deals valued at 1.8 billion naira. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
Now, away from Nigeria, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, a global figurehead of progressive politics, shocked the country Thursday by announcing she will resign from office in a matter of weeks. The 42-year-old, who steered the country through natural disasters, the COVID-19 pandemic, and its worst ever terror attack, said she no longer had enough in the tank. Ardern said that she will step down no later than February 7, less than 3 weeks after winning a landslide election to secure her second term in office. Since that 2020 peak of Jacinda mania, Ardern's government has struggled with its popularity, hampered by soaring inflation, a looming recession, and a resurgent conservative opposition. Now, Ardern won international acclaim for her emphatic handling of the 2019 Christchurch Mosque massacre, in which 51 Muslim worshippers were killed and another 40 wounded. Later that year, she was praised for her decisive leadership during the fatal White Island, also known as Wakari volcano eruption. On Thursday, she cited her government's actions on housing affordability, climate change, and child poverty as further sources of pride. Let's now take a look at sports updates presented by Adeni Ajishafe.
Nigeria's under-18 and under-20 male and ball teams were on a winning streak on day 3 of the IHF Challenge Trophy Continental Championship at the Gymnase Nicole Oba in Brazzaville, Congo. Coach Emeka Nnamani under-18 team did not sweat much as they annihilated Zambia with a 55-16 victory. It was a similar outing for the under-20 team led by Coach Fidelis Obi as they cut down Zimbabwe with a 50-19 victory. And in football, 7-time African champions Flying Eagles of Nigeria will take on their Zambia counterpart in 2 friendly matches in Abuja as part of preparation for this year's Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations. This follows an approval from the Football Association of Zambia after a request letter from the Nigerian Football Association on 13th January 2023. The proposal for the tour includes FAZ flying the junior Chipolopolo to Nigeria, while the NFF will bear the cost of accommodation, feeding, and other logistics for the Zambia delegation. The 2 matches will take place on Friday 27 January and Monday 30 January 2023 respectively. Free-scoring Flying Eagles have scored a total of 10 goals in 2 friendly games since resuming camp after the Yuletide period, the latest being a 5-1 mauling of Galadima FC in Abuja on Wednesday. Champions of WAFU B Under-20 Championship held in Niger Republic in May 2022, the Flying Eagles have been drawn to play host Egypt, Senegal and Mozambique in Group A of the Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations taking place 19 February to 11th March this year. Zambia, champions of the 2017 Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations, which they hosted, reached the quarterfinals of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Korea Republic the same year before losing to Italy after extra time in Suwon. In Egypt, Zambia will be up against Tunisia, Benin Republic, and the Gambia in Group C, while Uganda, Central African Republic, South Sudan, and Congo battle things out in Group B. All 4 semi-finalists in Egypt will qualify to represent Africa at the 23rd FIFA Under-20 World Cup Finals, slated for Indonesia, 28 May to 11 June 2023. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And that wraps up the news hour for tonight. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.